Support for this podcast comes from the patrons at patreon.com/FMLFPL. Okay! Welcome to Bill Milan.
This Walsh.
So this is the preseason of the preseason pod, the Precog pod, the Walsh pod, the Walsh's Notes pod. What's up, dude? Host Walsh.
I'm excited to do this pod actually because we've never done a preseason pre-price pod before. Because the main reason why I was thinking of doing this one this year is that our view of players gets almost like nullified when we find out the prices. Like if the guy we liked before prices and then the price comes out, he's like 0.5 too much or 1 million too much. And then we just completely put them in a different category. We don't talk about them, right? So the idea I think behind this is to sort of put down like unfiltered thoughts before the prices. And, you know, I kind of started writing this list about around the time the restart kind of came back. And then I kind of added bit by bit as the games continued and petered into descents into madness. So we'll see if it makes sense or whatever, but well, you know, that's kind of the framework of the pod, I think. But before that, we have some house
brain meme, you know, like it's like small, the peak is like a pre-price reveal pod, but the small brain shit is like guessing prices, like talking about last season, like discussing
and then the
captaincy points and like, and then it's like massive brain. It's like pre-price
yes,
pod.
absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like you've sort of like summoned me from hibernation of FPL and footy because when
what do you mean sort of? That's exactly what I did.
Exactly what happened because when it's off season, I'm off season. I am nowhere near thinking about anything to do with FPL or footy. So,
and you know I don't switch off.
I know you never switch off.
I'm
It's just
not.
no days off. Yeah, you're fucking psycho. But before we get into it, just one announcement for people who haven't seen it yet. I guess we switched from Slack to Discord. So anyone that's subscribed to our Patreon at the Slack now Discord level or higher. Just check Slack or check our Patreon page, patreon.com/FMLPL for steps on how to get on Discord, which we've migrated everything to Discord.
Yeah, there were a lot of reasons for us doing this. And, you know, we appreciate all you guys who jumped over like already and obviously understand it's very annoying to learn a new piece of fucking thing.
Software,
it's a nightmare. Yeah. It is really similar to how Slack was.
It's
and
very
you know,
similar, yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically the same thing, but now it's linked with the Patreon, like just like small windows. Anytime someone signed up, me or Alon would have to like go into Slack and individually invite
like
everyone.
Personally invite everyone.
And it's like if we're asleep, you know, you sign up and then it could be 9 hours until you see the email and you're just sitting there with, you know, your
Boris in the Ukraine. It's like, lads, how do I get into Slack? We wake up to 5 messages from him. It's like, sorry, dude, we're sleeping from 4 to 7 a.m. Like,
so it syncs it for us, which is big. But, you know, and generally speaking, if you are doing it or you have problems, like obviously we're accessible via whatever the things are. So you just hit us up and we'll get there with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we appreciate that. And we could plug it for a second. We never really talk about the Discord now, but
it's weird not saying the Slack.
Yeah. Well, it's the Discord now, baby.
Yeah, it's the Discord.
We're rebranding, but it starts picking up like very intensely probably in the next week or two. Once prices come out, it's just insanity.
Yeah, when the game
opens,
it's
nuts. And it's just fun, especially with quarantine zones, like being able to go on and, you know, talk about food and fucking TV show. I mean, you know, it's just good. It's good banter.
Well, and also Champions League. I wasn't on, but you were on for Champions League.
It was great. I mean, it's great to
Everyone's
great to be able to
it.
chat with some lads during the Champions, you know, all that. So check us out.
People come for FPL, stay for the community, you know.
Oh my God, that's wholesome.
Stamp. Okay, let's talk about your notes. So the way this is going to go, I think, is Walsh is going to read through his 30-ish lines of notes.
Yeah, this might be a 3-hour pod. We might not finish it all. We'll see what happens.
I'm just your sub in this.
No, you're stupid.
You're the Dom. I'm the sub. I'm just ready for it.
We can both dom, bro.
Who doms the dom?
So, I mean, first in caps where I just started, it was obviously after an Ings goal, but it just says start with Ings, you dumb cunt. So kind of off that back also is looking at DCL and Wood, and I guess sort of predicting the low forward price metagame. And I was kind of looking at all three of them kind of in concert. And it might surprise you that Ings actually on the season had the lowest non-penalty XG of those three players.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I was doing some actual research into my points to see what I was up to. Obviously, you're here. That's all we need.
I did.
But I'm interested in all three of these players. I'm very concerned with Ings' price hike being like nuts. What do you think about Ings, a player that, is expected, obviously going to have a big hike from 6 million, but usually those kind of players, they peaked, right? And then to repeat is difficult. Do you think that's going to be a thing that he falls into, or do you think he's going to be good even at 8.5, 9 million kind of price?
My gut reaction is he's just really good and finally had a fit season. I mean, obviously he was really hot shooting wise, but he also only took one pan. I mean, it was all an open play, and he creates his own chances a lot of the time. I mean, I think, will he compete for a Golden Boot again? I would guess not. Is he going to play 38 matches again? I would guess not. But assuming he's fit at the beginning of the season, I still think he's good. And if they have a good run of fixtures, I think he's good. I don't know.
So I think it's interesting. Like these three players is interesting to me kind of because they all play, Southampton have the pressing, you like the team, the way that they go after the opposing final third. They're always in there. Burnley do the opposite, but Wood is the first, second, and third option. It's just Wood or nothing. Yeah. And then DCL is kind of came on late, but the midfield was missing. But all three of these players kind of I'm kind of looking at them very similarly in that they should just tick. We're looking for those kind of glue players, right? Those, granted, we need to see Everton buy some midfielders, obviously. But I mean, expecting that happening, right? These are kind of three players that I'm looking at who could be really good, game week 1 picks, who you might just hold kind of guys.
Yeah. And I want to say also is that it's unlikely that all three will be good, but I think it's a pretty good chance that one could be a keeper, or something like that. Some sort of glue guy who's just ticks, who's good. And Ancelotti, I don't know that much about him, when he was in Italy and all that shit, but he has sort of a reputation of when the matches don't matter, he takes, he fucks it off. He doesn't really care. He's just, let the lads do whatever they want, whatever. But we saw a little bit of when they were good, and they were really good. So yeah, wouldn't be surprising to me, even though DCL was so bad after restart.
Yeah. I feel like that was a misnomer, though, because I didn't think he individually was very bad. It was just he was just doing the thankless job and getting no service. So, yeah. So what price do you think Ings would – are you looking at Ings thinking that's – because we both missed on him big time last year. Is that something that you're thinking about? What's the price that he would have to be for you to not have him kind of thing? He's not – say he's 9.5. You put him in or you're fucking, I'm not doing that.
That's really high.
Because then he's Jim, right?
Yeah, the thing is I feel I don't know, maybe I'm just off on Ings. I mean, his numbers were not – he outshot his XG, but everything else underlying, the amount of shots and XG per 90 and that kind of stuff, were basically in line with every other season he's had. So that's why a lot of people are no, he's just really good and was finally fit. But the thing that I'm wondering is is he gonna have a better season than last season?
No, so
possible? I don't see that as possible, really.
And so that's the thing when we see someone like Ings, right? That we've talked about this a lot in years past, is that when he goes up here, where's he going to go? Your best case is he's earning the price kind of, right? Yeah, but I mean, DCL and Wood, they're going to be in the 7 region, right? They could have an Ings year that Ings did this year, next year.
I agree with that.
So, so I don't know. I mean, I'm worried about Ings' price. I think it might be really high, and how much I like these other two. I just might not go there, even though that's the first note.
Yeah, we always talk about avenues and shit, and just Ings. isn't the number one pen taker and doesn't
He's
create
horrible
any
at them.
chances.
Yeah.
So it's like you're 20 goals or bust. Like he's not gonna score any other types of points. So it's kind of risky. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean Wood and DCL also don't create chances. I mean these three players are kind of the ones that I was
Wood's at
really
least on
looking
pens.
at. Yeah, Wood's on pens, and with Ings, the thing that he always had was that his goals were worth 5, 6, 7 points, not 4. And there's no reason to believe that will not happen. So that almost is kind of like the that's a thing. But
man,
all right,
Ings
so that's
40 bonus points this season.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
That's crazy.
All right. So basically the other kind of thing here I'm thinking is just not spending on a forward. I mean, I don't know how that would I don't know what would have to happen between now and the prices come out that would change in my mind, but midfield just seems so much, there's so many better players at premium price bracket in midfield that I just can't imagine myself going any more than like 2 strikers and having anyone who's over, that 8.5 kind of thing also.
I don't know. I'm not there. I don't want to like pigeonhole myself at all. There's still plenty of good forwards. And
but there are like 2.
Well, Kane played the best football he's played in like 2 years then the season.
That's true. Do you trust Kane?
Obbs
though?
gets 200 points every season.
Obbs is there.
Kuhn is a god.
But to me, it's like Kuhn and Obbs. Like maybe, but Kane. Would you trust Kane over like these other guys?
I don't know. He's kind of good.
Oh my god.
He ended the season so well. I don't know.
All right.
Again,
so,
I don't have this well thought out, and it's so hard without prices. But I'm just I wouldn't throw Kane out the window before I see his price and fixtures and stuff. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I like that. So Trent, kind of thinking how much does Trent have to be to not have him is my next note. If he's 8 million, is he straight in? And then I also kind of wrote, don't forget to compare the Liverpool defenders to the other positions at the same price point. So meaning like if Trent's 8, what am I looking at compared to the 8 million midfielders or 8 million forwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
If VVD is 6.5, what am I looking at VVD compared to, the 6.5 midfielders or 6.5 forwards kind of thing. But that kind of digressing back to Trent, say Trent's like 8 million. Is that a hesitation for you to get him, or is it just like
That's not hesitation for me at all.
What's hesitation? Like 9, 8.5?
When I read your notes before the pod started, it's like, it's weird because I feel like he's, barring fitness, which is the only reason he didn't hit 200 points in 18-19, like he seems like a nailed on perennial 200 plus point player at this point. Like he's so good in the system.
Yeah.
Every other player that's a nailed 200 plus point player is like at least like 10.5.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's no limit. I think no matter what, he'll be underpriced.
I agree.
Yeah.
No matter what.
I don't really have a limit because there's no way he's going to be 10. I think he's going to be 8 or 8.5. 10. Don't yell though. Your baby's probably.
I know.
Sick.
I did try to control myself. Yeah. So 8.5. I agree. I mean, that's the other thing I was looking at, right? He's over 200.
Yeah. There's not going to be an 8 million midfielder that we're going to realistically compare and be like, oh, he might get the same points as Trent. Like, that doesn't exist.
That's not going to happen.
Without like season-ending ACL injuries to like City forwards or something, that player won't exist in the game.
Yeah. So. Also, I kind of was looking here at Trent as a captainable pick, that it might be okay to go without Mo or Mane,
right?
If I'm looking at captaining Trent in the home bankers, right? Like those 6-7 home bankers that everyone wants the Liverpool captain.
Yeah,
going Trent instead. My thinking with that is that the clean sheets are pretty, even though it didn't come in. A few of the good home Liverpool games happened when Adrian was in goal, and that was unfortunate. But, just looking at how they play, right, in general, is, when teams come to Anfield in the bottom 10, they just don't try and play. They're just damage limitation from the jump. And unlike City, which is similar game script, they actually have like bad, mad shit, and they try and score 7, and Liverpool don't. So, if you're looking at the clean as coming in okay, and then Trent's like not a defender. He has 13, 15 assists the last 2 seasons. Like if he played midfield and he had like 13, he's like David Silva, Eriksson kind of guy with like assists. You're not really thinking twice about that kind of a return with the cleans. Like, do you think that that's reasonable?
Yeah, definitely. I think we talked about that on postmortem. I think that was someone's question, and our answer was we were both like, yeah, fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting.
Something to keep in mind.
I'm sure this will trick some people, but like Trent only had 14 cleans. But the league was won from game week 32 on, and they just played no defense at all.
Yeah.
So normal
it could
season,
be 17,
he's probably
maybe
at like 25, and it's even more of like a shoe in.
Well, I mean, especially if Alice Swan was in there at the beginning, they probably had 3 more there, 1 through 8 or whatever.
11, I think.
Was it that long? Yeah, my God.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're probably, easy favorites to lead the league in cleans again. And
I mean, I guess the other thing too, thinking that way is, when Mo and Mane are going to be right around 12, when the budget's 100 and you're making decisions about, you can have at most, like, I guess 3 premiums,
something like that.
Is that a way to go? Maybe it is, maybe not, but just to consider it, consider all options.
Yeah.
So next, City defense, question mark. It's sort of just a random City, like looking at Mahrez seriously, because, he's sort of a player that he fell out of favor for Fodinho lately, like last couple games. Clearly UCL, Foden played. But, Mahrez, great points per minute in FPL this season. Kevin's on pens, like Raz, Foden. Like, I guess just where do you go with your City players?
Yeah. I don't know. They're always the hardest thing for me. I always want defensive representation from them. I always want Laporte or Ederson. I find myself in those situations, but like since the restart, that was a really not great decision, and I wish I just went triple attack. And it seems like at this point, learning that lesson, I feel like I'd rather have 2 City attackers and no defender than have 2 City attackers and a defender.
To keep yourself open.
Yeah, just for the flexibility of going to get Kuhn for a captaincy or something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah. That's a shout.
Mahrez is weird, right? Because, there were the 5 subs and everyone was fatigued and all that shit. So he played in every match. But the pre-restart, he had a bunch of zeros, which is kind of good as an owner. You'd rather him either start or play 0 minutes so you get the auto sub than start or play, 12 minutes like he did in the restart.
Yeah.
So,
he only had that. He had one 4 week in a row that he missed kind of thing. And then he only had 1-0 the rest of the year. But he still,
I guess.
Yeah. But he still had a lot of points off the bench. And, he just gets a lot of points. He got a lot of points. He had 175 points last season and a little under 2,000 minutes. He had fucking 25 returns.
He's their record buy for a reason. He's so good.
Because I envision him being the player that no one owns on City.
Yeah,
and
probably. What's his price going to be? Same?
I don't know. He was...
It's weird when a player starts at 8.5 and ends at 8.6, and we're thinking he might get a price hike. That is weird.
He had 11 returns the year before, and he only went down to 8.5, and then now he had 25. So I don't know. He might go up. He could go up to 9 or 9.5. I don't know. Well, I guess
he should.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about Fodinho over there? Raz and Kevin, we don't need to talk about it. What do you think about Foden?
I didn't watch UCL. Where did Foden start? Where did he play?
He was playing false 9. He was playing down the middle.
False 9?
Yeah, it was weird stuff. It was a lot of weird action. It was weird. They were moving all over the place.
What are you talking about? Wow,
they were moving him all over the place.
Well, it seems like Pep really does like him a lot and trusts him a lot.
He's really good.
He's just limited by minutes, and he just seems like he'll be underpriced no matter where they put him. To me, I feel like
A5. Do you think they would go that high, or
if he plays, he'll outperform 8-5. I feel like pretty confident in that.
Yeah,
I just
probably.
don't know if he's gonna play. But
I really like him, dude. Like I really really like him.
Yeah, it seems like he's groomed to take that 8 role from David, and we know Gundo's not good at it, and we know Bilv isn't good at it. Like Bilv is way better on the wing, and so I don't know. As far as if it were me, he would be nailed, and he's gonna outperform whatever price they put him at. I think, but
yeah,
I don't know. And if we'll get anything else. I mean, maybe the longer they're in UCL, we'll get a better idea because it's more valuable than preseason, right? Because they're games that actually matter.
Meaningful, yeah.
Yeah, so if he's starting in the big games at 8, and then man, he should be in the team probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. But he's playing in the front, though. He's not playing him in midfield. That's the thing that's more exciting to me, It's like, holy
flexible,
shit.
it's even better, right?
Yeah, it's even better. Like, Mahrez gets a rep. Mahrez plays, he comes back in the mid. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, the other thing, though, that is worrying that we'll be watching closely is they're talking about City might, miss game week 1 or something.
What?
With their mandatory, 4 weeks off or something after the end of the season. And the later they progress, even for Man United and Wolves, it could touch that they might not be ready for game week 1 because they have to have a mandatory amount of rest between the end of the competitive season. It's like a regulation or a guideline.
It's like an FA rule?
Something like that. So they might, I don't know, they might be able to do midweek. Well, whatever.
Oh,
that's
that would be great. Start the season with blanks. Oh my God, that'd be horrible. That would ruin whatever structure we have in game week 1. If there were doubles in game week 2 and blanks in game week 1, it would just everything.
It would be really bad, but we'll see about that. So I mean, basically, it's City midfield is.
Yeah, Foden's numbers are insane. He gets so many shots.
He's so good
in and around all the right areas. He's only getting better.
It doesn't seem possible that I won't have Foden at the beginning of the year, unless if they don't actually have a game. I mean he's like me. He's like my guy, I think. Next to Ziyech, obviously.
I think, I mean, if I had to guess right now, I'd say Foden's in the majority of teams.
I don't agree at all with that.
I
think he's going to be in
no
teams.
In our active group and our Discord friends and stuff.
Cal Rob.
I just don't see a world where he's not underpriced. And by underpriced, I mean anything under 9.
Yeah. So Foden.
Yeah.
Foden's good. Yeah. So next note is Burnley and Palace defenses. Don't forget. They're good against bad teams.
Don't forget.
Just don't forget that they're really good against bad teams. They're the perfect rotational defense. Those two, Burnley and Palace. They usually don't clean. Burnley varying frequently, but Palace definitely not. But we went off on who Palace cleaned last year. It was just all bottom 7 teams. That was it. Yeah. So, we'll have to see
them. We're starting with at least one of each, is what you're saying.
If there are 4 or 5 routes in, I mean that Burnley, it also feels like each year they just don't know what they're doing with the defender pricing. There's always they had they had 4-0 defenders playing this year.
Yeah,
Taylor, it's
they
insane.
have Tark and me on a pedestal, and then they don't know what to do with the rest.
They don't know. They price them all 4. I don't know. But if there's a 4 or 5 Burnley defender that'll be gold dust again, of course. And Palace, we probably will.
Do you think Nate's pulling his hair out because he doesn't want to start the season with Bardsley or Peters or some other horrible player?
Yeah, fucking Peters out of position the whole year. Yeah, I mean, but Burnley and Palace are just to not everyone's talking about Leeds and shit. And I'm like, dude, these are the teams that have been doing it for 4 or 5 years in a row. Right. And we know if Deitch is still there and Moyes is still alive in a month, they're both going to be setting up the same way, and they're going to be keeping the clean sheets. Those are just things to not forget, not kind of lose sight of the unsexy floor type things.
Who's the number 1 partnership for Palace next season? Because Cahill's probably kind of fucked still, or is he expected to be back? I don't know.
I don't know if he's going to be back. I mean, he had a tear, but
38-year-old hamstrings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, no, definitely not good. I would probably say it would be Gaz and Tomo if Tompkins is okay.
I forgot about Tompkins.
But I mean, Tompkins has been out for dog's years.
Yeah,
I mean, he was out before the COVID.
Really long time.
Yeah, he might have died from COVID. I don't know.
Yeah.
But after that, I mean, we still are paying $100K a fucking week to Saka. So mom's gonna probably get in there over Dan. So I would guess it would be either like Gaza and one of those two. And I think any of that is fine.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
I think it's fine. It's all fine. I mean, you know how we play.
Ward might be in the team next season. Not even lying.
Well, we got Ferguson.
Ward might be the 4-5 in.
It could be, but we got Ferguson in from West Brom. He's like a young right back.
Oh, yeah,
Nat Ferguson. He's probably not going to be ready game week 1. He might be a slow burn, but he's going to be like lingering, you know, but we'll see. Okay. We'll see. Okay. Good. So going over to keeper talk, you know, I was talking about doing the promoted keeper and a 4-0 to try it. And I put like Leeds in question marks. But, you know, I was also kind of thinking about just what actual established teams are going to have a 4 or 5 goalkeeper, because, you know, we're going to have a few. Mm-hmm. Like McCarthy's points were really good, even though they didn't keep too many cleans. Like, he was getting saves, and I don't know. I mean, Flappy might go down to 4 or 5 with West Ham. Like, I was thinking about that a little bit. That's interesting. You're not interested in Moy? No, I don't know. I was just thinking about the 4 or 5 guys. Like, I mean, Ryan, I don't want any part of, but there's going to be a couple. What do you think? And I mean, I was looking at West Brom. They're like Johnstone. He saves a lot of pens.
I saw you post the pen. Yeah, it's just like, right? I mean, that's actually important. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's got like 50% pen saves the last 20 or whatever it was.
Fucking insane.
It's insane. I mean, if you save 2 pens, that's basically like keeping 4 more cleans or some shit. Like, that's 8. That's 8 points. If your goalie gets a pen save, it's 5. You get 3 points. That's 8 points. That's huge. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you thinking about that?
We could get. I mean, maybe. Yeah, that's tough. What do you make of the? I mean, I guess no one knows the answer to this because it's so unprecedented. But like, I was gonna say, what do you make of like the Villa playing really well defensively for the entire Project Restart? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean
that because he's gonna be 4-5. Whether it's or Nealand or Pepe and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned about, like, I do really want to spend 8-5 on the position, and I want to make sure that there's a 4-0 backup available. Like, I really don't want to spend a transfer on goal. Like, we say this every year. I don't want to do it. So I'm going to definitely not look at anyone who doesn't have the 4-0 keeper. And I'm worried that Villa's
about that, though. That only comes into play if they get injured, right?
Yeah, but dude, we saw a lot of goalkeeper injuries this year. Like, yeah, I mean, look at how many.
Just all Guaita.
Well, that was one, but like we had Heaton, we had Force. I mean, I guess it's Allison. Yeah, I mean, I'm blanking right now. For some reason, I felt like there were, but maybe
Flappy,
not.
Right? Wasn't he out?
Flappy, yeah, Flappy was hurt. I think Southampton. I mean, Laurie's got hurt.
I'm not gonna pick a keeper I'm less confident in just because he has a 4-0 backup. Is what I'm saying. Like, I think it's really
I might, because I think it's
if that comes in or not. I mean,
it is, but I also don't think that of these like Villa, Southampton, like I can't make a compelling argument one way or the other. Like, I don't know. Like, it's all fucking whatever. So maybe that's the deciding factor.
Yeah,
that's the kind of thing too. Is like, I don't know. But 4-5, 4-0 keeper, I'm all in on that this year.
I'm looking at it for sure.
So next one, I had a long little diatribe on Ziyech.
We're on like not far. 7th note.
Yeah, we're fine.
33 or something.
Fine. We'll start going quicker.
Okay.
Ziyech. So basically, everyone needs to get ready for me to talk about Ziyech every pod, because he's like my second favorite player in the world behind Tadic.
What about?
I love him.
What about Ziyech versus
Ozil? He's up. I mean, he's in the pantheon.
I was say Foden.
Yeah, well, Foden. No, Foden's.
What if you had to pick one for your team? And
Ziyech,
both like
100%.
Oh,
no, dude, Ziyech, actual 100%, not close. Like Ziyech, I love him, dude. I've owned him in every fantasy game possible since he's been like in life.
True. That's true.
Fucking World Cup every game, like every UCL every game. I love him so much. So, but so short of me like that with that, but just thinking about like who do you love? Like who do you love that you just want in your team? Like that's okay. Right?
That's okay.
That's okay. Like who's your guy? Like do you have a guy or you're too like open-minded?
I don't know if I have a guy.
Because you're very down on like Liverpool in general, I feel like.
I've talked about this on the pod. I think I'm scarred
I
from my American sports teams all being horrible all the time, in and out every season. So I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get Liverpool guys. I try and like be aware of my bias, but I overcompensate. But I don't know who are my guys. I don't even know. I guess if I were to describe my guy, it would just be like a gem, like a soy, like a Maitland-Niles. That's like I can't
just the uncut gems.
Yeah, the uncut gems. This is how I win, guys.
Yeah.
But maybe Bob will be my guy. I don't know.
Okay. So also just on Chelsea, like I mean Ziyech, I'm expecting like 8.5, I think, probably something like that. What do you think Werner's going to be in at? Like 10.5 or so?
Yeah.
Something like that. What do you think he's going to be?
And you mentioned
that's a forward.
Premium forwards are bad.
All right. I forgot.
Me too. I mean, he's legit like insane.
Do you think he's going to be an early trap or like the early bandwagon kind of player? Like, cause like this is like when Mo came in, I mean, he was underpriced at 9.5 that year, but he was in very few teams and people were looking for that known commodity or like known quantity. Do you think Werner's the kind of guy that you like if Chelsea have a few good fixtures at the beginning that you want to jump into like right away or?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty confident, assuming he's like starting down the middle all the preseason matches and not like I don't know what Frank's up to, but Pooley might not be ready, so maybe it could be like Werner, Tammy, Ziyech or something front three. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard about him, I haven't seen him play that many times, but everything I've heard is just like, oh, he's the next like absolute superstar. Every metric eye test known to man is like he's just the best thing ever. So
he's really good.
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting him to just take the league by storm, even though I kind of think Bundesliga is a fucking joke of a league. And
it is. I mean, it is.
Stats are so inflated.
Well, the thing though with him that's nice, unlike a lot of the other, like he get a lot of assists. He could end up with 8, 9, 10 assists, and I mean that's a big padding for the forwards that not a lot of them get. So he's one to definitely.
Yeah,
remember.
He had 28 goals, three were pens this season, 8 assists, 3.92 shots per 90 is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and
it's like Kane when Kane was good.
Yeah, and he was he underperformed his XG and barely overperformed his XA. Like
he's good. He's good.
His numbers are fucking insane.
So I guess because I was thinking about Pulisic also with Ziyech, but thinking about that like 8.5 midfield price bracket, I feel like it's a really difficult place that kind of like between 7.5 and like not the premium guys, but like the level just below. But there's always like with Rich, like there's always guys in there that end up like this year we had like Martial, Mahrez, Son, Willie, and Rich. Like those guys were all in this price region and they all were right underneath like Kevin, Rasmo, right?
Yeah, it's almost the price region devised for like the top 6 teams, but the second option on those teams or something like that, right? It's like 7.5 and under. The 7 and 7.5 guys are usually the best guys or like the number 10s on the other teams. And then just above them are the top teams or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
But I just feel like we miss that bracket. Like we're either in the premium or the lower. Like,
well, Tony,
when we
were all over. I mean, you had him all season. I had him all restart. Like we didn't miss that. But yeah, there's probably some other sneaky.
But just that price bracket, like I always remember like game week 1 when we're building our teams that we don't normally have. Players there like
cheaper.
we're like really expensive or cheaper, so I don't know if there's something there, but just something I was thinking about, just that price bracket to not overlook it.
This season I actually like made a point to go there and started with Rich
Yeah.
And then he
true.
blanked 3 straight, and I wasn't patient, and I got rid of him, and he braced.
Yeah. Well,
that's life.
But
then he blanked the next 4 also. Well, he got an assist, but no goals in the next 4.
Yeah.
No goals in the next fucking like 8 actually. So maybe it wasn't that bad getting rid of him.
Yeah, I mean, I had a much lower down note on Rich. Just talking about Rich, a really like good low key just hold. Like he's a fixture. Like he's doesn't matter the fixture. He's not sexy, and he's a glue player. I mean, he should probably be around 8 again, but there is going to be a year where he hits 200. Like that's definitely going to happen. And if they have good, if they're playing well, if they have good fixtures, like he's still really young. He's just really good, and he's a fucking horse. Like he usually doesn't get injured. So he's someone that you could definitely.
He plays 9 every game, but he stays on the ground for 10 minutes of every game. So he really plays 80 every game. Yeah,
that's fair. But he had 3,000 minutes last year, then 2,600 the year before, and 2,800 the year. I mean, he's pretty joking, good.
Obviously.
But
he's great. Yeah.
Yeah, but he does get knocks a lot, but he doesn't miss out. I mean, he's just someone who no one's going to be talking about Rich. Like preseason, like game week 1, everyone's going to be doing the like new players, new thing, and Rich is just still going to be there, and he's still going to be good. So, is there a world where you would imagine starting with him?
I mean, I just started with him last season, so I don't.
I know, but then you had 3, and then you got rid, and then I don't think you went back to him all year, right?
I don't think I did either. I definitely wouldn't rule it out, though. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see it. Yeah.
I think it's just really hard to
like him.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to go for those kind of players game week 1, like the not fun new guys, like the guys that we've all owned here and there, the guys that like Rich has disappointed everyone. Maybe we've had good times. But.
If there's any topic that I've thought about, this is probably the only one that I've thought about. And I haven't done too much on it, but just like theoretical thinking about it is like we always talk about pre-game week 1. Like this is a guy you can hold all season, or like this is your glue guy, or like this guy set and forget, whatever the fuck. But like we never actually hold them all season. So should we be actually targeting guys that we can hold all season?
Well,
like
I think
Rich?
Maybe it's,
or do we just go for the 6-5 with good fixtures and then bounce to the other 6-5 and then what I mean?
But you can't have 8 players like that, right? Like you need to have a little bit of a balance. Yeah. Like I think less that like, okay, you're going to actually hold them all season, but that he goes in the category of like, if they have 3 bad fixtures in the next 5 and I have a few other guys that are fucking their faces off and I need to do other things, like he could return in those games. Like the kind of like Jim,
5 in a row, I'm still going to use my transfer on a different guys.
Yes, exactly. And not to say that you build your team with players like that, but if like that's a valuable thing, right?
Though, right?
Well, then it's, you still want to use,
but some.
Yeah. Some, but but I think it's more of like, some don't know. It's more of just thinking of it in that way to me anyway. It's a safety. It's just a safety guy.
Yeah. I'm going to have more thoughts on this when the
Okay. Well, we'll bring this in next. We'll bring it in next.
Something is like off. I'm not like connecting the idea of quote unquote set and forget, which is just a bullshit term that means nothing basically. I'm not understanding that strategy or something like that.
Okay.
And like, and when we used to play pre-pod and when I was consistently way better at a field than I am now, I set and forget. No one was set and forget. I was rip people in and out like all day, like, chase the points, the points, chase the fixtures, blah, blah, blah. And I finished top 20K. And now I'm like, no, be patient. I'm top 150.
Yeah, well, that's a whole big macro conversation that we'll do later. All right, so other midfield, talking about cheaper midfielders, I was looking at Bowen. Bowen's good.
He is good.
I don't know if he's going to be 6'5". I'm hoping he's going to be 6. I don't know. His returns weren't that good to go up to 6'5". He might be, but he's probably going to have high goal involvement. And even though West Ham aren't very good, Bowen's good. And also looking with Bowen was kind of St. Max. He had that kind of little flurry of good games. And the thing I really liked about these two players and maybe St. Max a little bit more is like, do fixtures really matter? You know, if he's going to be around 6 million, these both players should be. St. Max is more dangerous. He's kind of like that Sarr when he had all those points against Liverpool. Like he's almost more dangerous on the counter. So against the good teams, I'm not too like hating that versus, you know, maybe some other players in this kind of 6-5 midfield bracket, that kind of talisman-y type bracket. What do you think about St. Max or Bowen or, you know, those guys? I mean, again, I guess they're going to be competing with like some of those promoted 6-5, like Pereira from West Brom, maybe, you know, those, I mean, we can't talk about Ben Rahama, so we have to talk about him, I guess.
Oh,
but what do you think about those? I mean, these are also like post-type sleeper guys, right? Like
yeah,
I'm a lot more
interested in Bowen as much as I love St. Max. I'm a lot more interested in Bowen because we saw a different West Ham when their backs were against the wall and the restart and shit. We saw.
So you think they're going to go back to?
Well, I think they might be actually kind of good. Like I think there are
West Ham.
When I start paying attention when there are like logical reasons for a team to improve, if that makes sense. So West Ham are better, and it's like if they were just getting like random defender goals, whatever, and barely stayed up, I wouldn't pay attention to it. But okay, why are West Ham better? Antonio's playing low and up top. He's doing way better than Allaire. Bowen's really good. They dropped Noble and put in Soucek. They have like
Soucek.
He's actually
the
good.
Answer.
Like,
he's so good.
Yeah, and like there's all these things, and I'm like, oh, they're actually like playing well. Like, what's his name? The right back was good. Like linking up with Bowen. And, like, I'm like, okay, there are actual reasons why West Ham are playing well. Moyes kind of has – he's not like – you can't just give Moyes the keys to, like, Manchester United and he'll just be horrible. But if he has his style of team, then, like, he can – I feel like he's proven that he can do a job. And West Ham just – he probably lucked into it because he's fucking Moyes, but like, West Ham are kind of good and have like.
The one thing though that you got to give Moyes some credit is he benched all the money, right? Like every single player that they bought for $1 billion was on the bench. Like he was just putting the performances out, which is a good job by him.
It was great. I mean, and so like, that's why I'm like, actually, they might be kind of good. Like they could finish like 10th, and I wouldn't really be surprised.
Flappy. I don't know.
Flap's good. Soucek is like actually good. Like people were joking.
Actually good.
Is it Soucek or Soucek? Czech, probably.
I think
right?
it's Czech.
Yeah,
I think
like,
it's Czech.
People were joking like, oh, like he found his like Fellaini 2.0, but actually, like that is what he is. Like. It's not a joke. This isn't a game, even though it's a game. Like he's actual good. Dropping Noble is the best thing that's ever happened to him, or playing him in front of Rice and Soucek.
But he still played him a lot. I mean,
he played him a lot, but he sometimes didn't play him, which is a lot more than any other manager's done in the last 10 years.
I just can't. I can't stand that guy, dude.
The Noble, at least. When he's ahead of two actual DMs.
Then
he can just pass and just be whatever.
Well, then you're not playing with 10 men at least.
Yeah, so there's just all these little things that Moyes did where I'm like, actually, I could see that working longer term. I don't think it's a fluke that they played well. So when you're talking to me versus like Bowen versus St. Max, I think West Ham might be like a 10th or 12th place team, and I think Newcastle might be the worst team in the league. So I'm like...
I like Bowen a lot, dude. I really like him. I like watching. I just like I like him.
But of like what, I guess Antonio's going to be a forward.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I have no interest in him. Next note, I guess on
Antonio
Greenwood.
Is so good.
Yeah, I don't have time for that today.
You've never liked him.
I've never liked him.
Like he's 30, and it took Moyes to find out that he's actually a forward, and every other manager played him at like. Wing, left back, right wing back, deep midfielder, like and this whole time he was just like a really good striker.
Yeah, I mean that's like the Arnie route, I guess, right? Played right wing forever, and then he went to up top, and he was just a fucking monster. Yeah. Greenwood. So what do you think that price is going to come in at?
That's such a hard price too. It's similar to Foden, I guess.
Yeah, that I had Foden and Greenwood. Like thinking about the price, like what is underpriced for Greenwood? Let's just assume they don't get Sancho.
It's sort of. similar to Foden, where I feel like no matter what they do, he's going to be underpriced.
Yeah. So he's a mid. He's like 8 million. You just like
Yeah,
that's
I think
underpriced.
like 8 or under, he's underpriced.
So what do you do with him and like Bruno? You know, I mean, Bruno will come in at a premium clip, but is that the kind of thing that you're like, all right, I'll get Greenwood instead of him. I'll save the 2. Or are you like, I want both, or it's too much?
Yeah. I don't know. That's really hard.
All right. Well, that's a thought.
Yeah.
Figure that out. We'll figure that out.
I mean, I prefer Foden so much more. If we're saying they're both like starters and gonna get minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I don't think it's remotely close.
But I think why not both?
Yeah, no, I could.
Why not both?
Both might be the answer, but then we're having like weird shaped teams already. You know, if we're starting with like 2 8.5s and an 8 million defender, and like, you know, you want Ziyech who's going to be like 8.5 too. So you have 3 8.5s in your team right now.
Yeah, I like that.
And
like
8 million Trent.
Like it. What else?
It's a little weird.
I like it. I like it all.
Yeah.
Saka. What do we? I mean, he could be in at the Bowen spot, right around 6.5, something like that. What do you think of him? Do you think he's going to be not consistent spot? Like he kind of after he signed the contract, he was like, no, just all of a sudden not playing every second of every game.
He played like number 10 in a bunch of those matches, remember?
Yeah, but it was just weird.
And it was
just
kind of weird, and like he had like one brace game and stuff, but then he went back to playing like left wing back, and then he went back to the bench, and I don't know.
Is there something there?
Yeah, I think I think
he's good.
Like
he's actually he's actually good.
The thing with him that I would like caveat that I wouldn't really caveat with Foden is that like for Saka I'd be like he's really good for his age,
but he's not really good. Yeah,
but Foden I'm just like he's really good.
Yeah.
Period. And sort of Greenwood too. I'd be like he's really good for his age. Like he's not like a developed elite striker or something.
I don't know. I really was very pessimistic on Saka like earlier in the year and watching him playing, but he grew on me a lot towards the end of the year after the restart. I think he might be better than that.
Yeah, I mean,
like I think he might be really good.
Aren't. But you know,
but
he was playing out of position, and his eye test is good. I'm just saying, like, I don't know where he plays, bullish on him, and it depends where he plays and if he plays.
But we don't need to let's compare him to like Bowen and Pereira and St. Max. Like that's who he's going to be priced against. Like
yeah,
like that's
for all of them. It's like, well, not Pereira because he'll definitely be nailed, but for the everyone and St. Max and Saka, Foden, Greenwood, etc. It's like if they're nailed, if they're first choice, yeah. I mean, like, is he going to play left wing back? Is he going to play number 10? Is he going to play right wing over Pepe? I have no idea. So I'm definitely interested.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs.
Yeah. What about Trossard?
Because our Arsenal in general, it's like, I've talked about this with Nate here and there, but like, they're so far from like the fully formed Arteta team. Like, he hasn't had a transfer window. He's barely had any time. You know, I don't think 3 at the back is their way forward in the future, like what he sees. So we don't know anything what they're going to look like, I don't think, really.
Too many question marks.
Yeah.
Okay. Trossard. Nah.
I mean,
you think he just kind of falls by the wayside with these kind of guys?
Yeah,
in that 6.5 million bracket.
I think he's like pretty good, but I'm not like I want to. Oh, he might be like under the radar guy. I don't really see that. I don't think.
You don't see that? Okay. So I mean, I guess that's sort of. I mean, I see flashes from him that are like, oh shit! Like if he's able to string this together and figure the pace out and do this, that he could be like 10-8, 10 goals, 8 assists type player.
Yeah.
If he gets some minutes.
Part of it is just like Brighton, right? It's like no one's nailed. They don't score any goals. Like they never play Grob. Like it's like troublesome.
Yeah. No, I mean Lallana, we'll have to see what that does.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
I mean that could be a big. I mean he could be a big like kind of.
I love Lallana, dude. He's
progressive
so
passer.
Good in that field. Remember that?
Yeah. I mean he could be a good but he could be the kind of player that creates better shots for them, if he plays
But is he going to be
2 and
nailed?
3.
Which
no one's nailed.
The
No one's
follow-up
nailed.
is anyone nailed?
No one's nailed.
So
That's the problem with Trossard also. But I mean, I also just made this note after writing down all these mid-price or low-price midfielders to not forget that the 5.5 to 7.5 million midfield bracket's usually a huge trap. And they're usually about 10 pre-game week 1 who everyone's kind of chatting about, and usually like maybe like one's good. Like they're usually not good. So
I mean, Willian was by far the best in that bracket this season. I finished at 168, and like a lot of that was after the restart.
And he was in no teams for the whole. I mean, like Grealish
earlier part of the season.
Yeah, Grealish ended up with a respectable points total, but just in general, that's a tough price bracket to peg like pre-game week 1 for sure. So maybe swerving it is the answer. I mean, because that's the other thing we have talked about, which I don't think I haven't noted, but when you're looking at those 6 million midfielders compared to the 6 million defenders, right? Like, do you want like Doc or do you want some punt,
Right.
So coming over to premium side, Mo, right? Like, is Mo the one premium to get? Like, he was sort of having a down year last year, and he still, finishes up with fucking 233 points, and they had like 1 pen all year.
A lot of points.
What do you mean?
Is he the one premium to get? Like the only premium?
No, I don't think you can afford more than 112 million plus player. Like in that, like,
no, but
could you for 100 million?
Just thinking for this year, like I and
him
lot
and
of people
Raz. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, just I guess maybe like the one above the other, like the one ring to rule them all. Like, is he the one that you should get over Kevin? Like, is he still the guy?
Oh, I see. I mean, he's still great. His numbers are still great. He was carrying a knock for like a lot of the season, probably like a third of the season. He was carrying something and still finishes with a ridiculous points haul. I mean, I don't know. I think we started on City, and I think like you probably would rather start with Raz because you just feel so much more confident in them scoring 5+ goals. Like,
so what about Kevin? Because I mean, you can't have all 3 of them. You have to pick 2 of those 3 if you're going there.
Really
right?
Hard.
So
I feel safer in City's attack than Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of my last notes. City team attacking stats, right? Completely out of sight, like not close to any other team.
It's been like that for 3 years running. Yeah, it's not a fluke.
But at the same time, we still see, end of the last couple of seasons with Mo tops
on Liverpool still.
And
Mane
still get
too. It's like
they still get all the points.
Yeah.
How do we weigh that?
I don't think there's a wrong answer. Like,
there's just not it's just you can't.
If you pick between Kev, Raz, Mo, Mane, they're all gonna be the top 4 again this season.
So the trick is just getting lucky and choosing captain to spike when you can, or swerving when the that kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean, I guess the bigger difference, the big difference between those 4, I guess, is like minutes probably. I don't have it all open. I'm trying to look. Actually, the minutes are really similar. I was thinking that Mo and Mane would have. Game. I thought Mo and Mane would have more minutes.
Well, I mean, I think of those players. Granted, Kevin's starting to get some pens, so if he, I still feel like Raz could score fucking 30 one year. Like, that's coming.
I mean, he's been very close to 20 and 20. In 18, 19, 17, 18, which is fucking ridiculous.
Like, I feel like we've seen
and then he just had like his worst year.
Yeah.
He's 20 and 6. Yeah.
Like, we've seen Mo's peak, but Raz, Raz could just do something insane one year.
I think any of these guys could do it. I mean, Mane's might have been the year before, like 18, 19, when he was just way better than Mo for a lot of the season, and we held Mo. Despite, I mean, people can just have like hot finishing seasons. I don't think it's anything more or less than that. So
I
don't know. Maybe it's just seeing who's like blowing up early, and maybe that's the right answer.
Yeah, it could be. So going back to Everton, don't forget about the midfield problems. They totally stopped creating chances. Maybe they're a team whose defense is worth investing in instead of the offense. Even if they do reinforce, or if they don't, they were really defensively solid, even though they had Pickford in goal, unfortunately. And, Dean was really their creative force from the left. Like, he was creating all of their chances after the restart, and he's always been he always creates a lot of chances.
Yeah.
So maybe he might be a good shout at like 5'5". He's another like kind of post-hype guy who kind of fell off the radar after he was everyone's darling. I mean, he was in like every team last year, Game Week 1. And, no one's really talking about him or Everton as they were fucking crawling to cross the finish line. But he could be a good pick at 5'5".
I'm interested in Everton
Everyone
through. Like, yeah. I think
well, you like
are
Mina,
gonna
be nuts.
What do you say?
You're nuts about Mina.
Yerry's.
You love him.
I think like people are gonna be low on Everton just because of how they finished the season and forget how good they were when Carlo came. They were like, are they going to get relegated this year? And then Carlo came and they were just fucking awesome. Yeah. I think Sidibe is also really, really good. Him and Dean. I think Rich is good. I think DCL is good.
Are they keeping Sidibe? I thought they were like possibly not going to.
No, I thought they bought him, right?
I don't know.
I mean, because Seamus is getting old. Like
he's getting up there.
He's not the same player. Sidibe is way better, I think. And
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know. They just need some midfielders, and I think they're like a top 10 team.
Yeah.
They could have like a big season with a couple signings. I don't know.
It's like, those are the team. Like, if we're able to find the team, or like,
I think Everton might be the team.
They might be the team that finish really shitty, and no one's talking. Like, everyone's like, oh, they suck, and we sit there with like, what if we just go with like Dean, Rich, and DCL?
Right.
And they just like come out well, and you're flying.
That might just be like all glue everywhere. Glue team.
Team glue.
Yeah.
So coming back to maybe like some more strategy point, is it better playing defense Game Week 1 than going differential? Like, I never start with that template. Like, I never look at the community teams and have like I didn't have Raz last year. I started with like Kane and Obbs or something last year. I think like when, something nuts, like if everyone's jamming in like Mo, Kevin, and Bruno, like, do you just do that and then just pick the pieces around, or like, is that just too anathema to kind of how we view?
I think you actually do the opposite of that. That's kind of where I was on postmortem, and I still think it might be right. I haven't thought about it since postmortem, but I think I would rather have my like glue guys that I feel good about and take risks on the premiums, where I think I want to captain guys or get huge hauls. I would rather do that than just get the same premiums that everyone's get and have a bunch of like shithouse punts around the team, Like if I really don't like Manchester United's fixtures, I would rather just like miss out on Bruno and cap whatever Raz in those weeks and get other, surround him with like Rich and other guys that I like than just jam Bruno on my team because he's 60% ownership.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I think that makes sense.
I don't know what's right. I don't know what's better. But it's also player to player, I think.
Player to player for sure.
Like, so.
But what are you
particularly good at, or what do you particularly like doing? I think I would rather be moving around, my Kuhn, Kane, Obbs spot. I would rather be moving that around based on fixtures and where I think a huge haul might come from than moving around my 7-5 mid spot. But I feel similar. I feel different.
My problem, and I don't know like why it took 7 years, but I spend so many transfers on defense and goalkeeper.
I know, and it's so
every year. It's so insane. Every fucking year. I always look. No, I know. Well, okay. Well, I'm talking about myself.
I know, bro. We're so dumb.
But it's so dumb.
It's so dumb.
So I don't really know what's good because I'm always doing that. And that needs to stop. It absolutely has to stop. We're going to do some things this year. We're going to be good this year. We might do well.
It kind of feels like we're floating above the game and we're like, I finally see the labyrinth, like I finally.
The amount of transfers on defense is nuts. It's insane how many.
You get transfers. Oprah just handing out transfers right now. It's just like, yeah, I mean, all of those transfers, say they're 20 a season because we're dumb. Like all of those being used.
Not 20.
On just
not 20.
Okay, 10. 10. No matter what number it is, using those transfers on like our premiums or captain guys we want a captain or whatever, it's just so much better.
It's so stupid.
But that's okay. Actually, this is a good thing because I just got a little light bulb moment because that's actually okay. That's actually what we used to do back in the day when we were good. It wasn't the same route because we weren't getting premium defenders, but we were getting 4 or 5 defenders that rotated and never really transferring them.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And we would just transfer the forwards and mids as we please with the fixtures and blah, 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 and we would haul.
Yeah.
And now we're saying, let's do that again, but just a little more money in the defense because the defenders are better and putting up more points. But the same concept of just don't transfer those guys because whatever.
God. Okay. Let's do that this year.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, speaking of defense,
we're over an hour already. Holy shit!
Whatever, dude. There's no one cares. There's no content. Everyone's fucking home,
true.
bro.
No
one has anything to do. Moo has turned Spuds into Moo. Like they're a fucking proper Moo team.
Bitch, I'm a cow. Moo.
I'm thinking about him with like Costa and Haz. I'm like, okay, like that was fine. And like, is that going to be Kane, Swan? Like, I don't know, maybe, but
yeah,
it could be. But the defense is the defense. And this might be like an actual big opportunity with the defense because they might not get priced as like correctly based on what they should get. They might get priced on what they like returned last year. And they could have 5 million defenders in this team this year.
Yeah,
and that would be egregious. The center backs,
Vert's gone, right? So, yeah. I mean, Toby,
Dyer,
just reputation-wise, maybe he'll still be 5'5", but the other guy could be.
He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. He really shouldn't be.
He's like been living on reputation for like 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, he should be 5.
But his partner could be 5
Dyer.
or even like 4-5. It could be like fucking Tanganga or Foyth or some shit. Like we don't even know. So
I mean, yeah, Davinson, Toby, and Dyer should probably all come in at 5. And
yeah,
I mean, if Aurier goes, I mean, Bavis could come in at 5. I mean,
wait,
basically,
is there talk about Aurier going?
Yeah, there's talking about Aurier going to Inter or something.
But then they don't have a fullback.
Well, I don't know what Levy, dude. He's fucking. If someone gives him like $5, I don't care. I don't.
Dangerous combo.
I can't even imagine what the hell.
Moo's gonna convince him that like he needs 6 more center backs.
Yeah,
and he's like, sure.
It breaks my mind to think about that. But there should be 5 million routes into the defense, and that's gonna be good. I think. Like that's the kind of thing that don't want to spend transfer on defense for the rest of my life. Like if you can find the Spud guy, like that's a good guy.
Dude, I think Moo would love Foyth. Not gonna lie.
Well, he would love Foyth like he loves Davis.
Yeah, like the 3rd center back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like pretending to be a fullback.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that could
if Dyer's 5, I mean, that might be it. I actually might start with him.
You just said you heard it here first. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
If he's a defender, though.
Yeah, no, yeah. He should be, right? Should be.
He's only played center. He's only played center back since Moo came. So. Yeah.
Spurs
Dyer. I might have Dyer.
They're really hard to price too. Spurs.
They are. They're really
Kane
hard to price.
and Son will be high, and Toby and Hugo will be 5'5" probably because reputation and shit. But every other player
7'5"
really,
midfielders.
Really
Ollie 8. Yeah, Ollie 8. Midfielders are 7'5", 7.
Ollie's
Kane 10'5". You just don't know where he's gonna play. We need some reps there.
Or if he's gonna play, or his brother's gonna play. It's
brother can play. Stu.
Yeah, I agree with your note, which
Stu.
said, here's Walsh's note. This is the type of shit Walsh emails me. Stu is actual unreal. Free roll roaming, very involved, very attacking. Maybe roll with double Saints attack. Ralph has them set up to press and score. Like, that's just beautiful shit.
I've been like totally not reading my notes, you know? Maybe I should have been this whole time.
Read. We should get the text to speech that I use on Twitch to read all of them. Oh,
just auto.
Okay. Yeah, Stu, I agree. He's good. He's super good, and I think Ralph likes and trusts him a lot, and he'll play the same role. They're good. Southampton are good.
Southampton's really good. Yeah, they're just really good. They're gonna be, they're gonna be playing good attacking stuff.
Yep.
And the players are gonna be priced $3 million less than any other team that plays like eye test similar. Yep. So I mean,
fourth highest XG since restart.
Fourth.
Yeah. Wow. City, Chelsea, Man United, Southampton, Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, Stu came in after the restart. He had 2 goals and 3 assists in like 3.5 starts.
When did they start being like not really bad? Like, how far back should I go? Because I'm just curious what their XG is like if I start in like.
I mean, I think it was somewhere around like game week like 26 or so.
I'm just starting January 1st, just in 2020. They're still 7th XG.
Yeah, they're good. I think it was a combination of he was still chopping and changing, trying to figure a lot, and players were getting injured a lot. Probably because they're supposed to be really fit, and they're just some of them, you know. But as they got fit, they just kind of turned a corner, and even though they have these really bad defenders, it didn't matter as much. Actually, KWP I actually hate, and I don't think he's good, but he could be good for FPL. Because he's kind of out of position.
He gets forward a lot. Yeah.
He's basically like kind of like Trentish. Like he plays so far up.
Yeah.
He could be a good 4-5 guy if he comes in at 4-5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we know Valerie's ridiculously bad, and their center backs. I mean, I just don't trust their defense at all. But Stu, I mean, if Stu comes in at like 6, 5'5", 6, which is probably what he was 5'5" this year, and
yeah, I think so.
That's a shout. You know, that's definitely a shout.
Yep.
Because he has that.
So he's your one guy in that price bracket that you trust, basically.
I mean, I'm probably gonna have like 4 guys.
Yeah,
in this
I know.
Bracket.
You're
I don't
breaking
know.
your own rules.
Yeah, well, that's
rules
what that's. I'm a walking contradiction. So what can I say? Yeah, then does it make sense to bypass? So that was the kind of what I talked about, I guess, earlier. Does it make sense to bypass the 5.5 to 7 million midfield bracket game week 1 and just get the attacking defenders in and around that price instead?
Hold on. Can I go back to Southern for 1 sec? So I'm just looking back. Course. In December 8th, they lost to Newcastle. December 14th, they lost to West Ham. And then they started going on a good run, December 21st on. So if I just go from there, XG, they're 6th. That's really
so. They're the best of the rest.
That's
attacking.
Really good. I mean,
they're just the best of the rest.
Yeah, I mean, they're way ahead of like Arsenal, Spurs. You know, like teams that we would.
They're definitely a better attacking team than Spurs. It's not close.
Yeah,
not
and
not
non-penalty. Actually, they're still 6. So yeah, they're just like legit fucking good.
It's too bad though, like because after Ings, like there's no like auxiliary good FPL pick really. Like they're kind of guys that just are in and around. Like Redmond just. Fucking Redmond's his life away. Yeah. Maybe like Che comes back, like that second forward.
Ended
the
season really well.
He had a couple, but like that second forward spot, right? Like he was playing Bafemi and like long, like no one could get that spot.
Yeah,
and maybe that's what he does. Like he likes keeping that player really fresh, and they're probably killing each other in training every day.
Yeah, I mean from that point that I picked out December 21st on, Ings had 13 goals in 21 appearances, and Stu had 5 goals in 19 appearances, was second highest. So,
yeah, I mean Stu did get a lot of subs.
That projects to a 10 goal, 6 assist season from Stu if he replicates that form,
which is fine.
Really fine for that price.
Yeah. But I think he's better than that, though, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. The shots,
he doesn't.
Like, it does indicate that like Che, if anyone, might be the like post type guy because he actually gets a lot of shots.
Yeah.
He
also he subs him every game. I fucking hate that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
But with Stu though, he doesn't take like very high percentage shots. Like his XG shots are not high. He's just good.
Right.
All right, whatever. We can skip this one.
Yeah, that's a lot of Southampton action.
Yeah. So Spurs. So I mean, this was probably after Spurs like were horrible and I had Kane or something. But I wrote no Spurs attacker. Period. Ever. Never. Ever. Do not do it while Moo is there. And don't forget, there's no such thing as a good attacking fixture for them.
So on the postmortem, I made this one point that was basically like, we're not giving teams with like good managers enough credit. I don't remember how I worded it. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Not really.
I was basically saying like, when teams are so bad, like Spurs were against Bournemouth, like the worst team in the fucking league after Bournemouth, I was like, oh my God. And everyone got rid of Son, including me, and everyone got rid of Kane and whatever. And then he like changed the system and changed the 11 a little bit, and Son was higher and more central, and they were really good from that moment on, and really good in FPL and scoring a lot of goals and shit. And so I don't know. I'm just saying that's kind of like my response to that is like, well, he saw what we saw, even more in depth saw what we saw, and kind of responded to it. So I still think like Son and Kane could be good.
I just feel like he's so perverse and like all he wants to do is get an own goal to go up 1-0 and then just not attempt a shot for the rest of the game.
I don't disagree, and
I hate that.
But
like I fucking hate that.
Kane could still score like 25. That's the thing. Like he will be on all of those pens that they go for and like score all of the 1-0, 2-0 goals. And the one other thing though is like when they turtle after they take a lead, is Kane and Son were still like countering a lot, fast. And I don't remember who said it. It was on Twitter, but someone said like the difference between Kane post restart and pre-restart was that pre-restart he was coming really deep, laying it off on a counter, and then
he still did that for multiple games,
and then didn't catch up, and wasn't in the box. And post restart, he was laying it off for the counter, and then he was still ending up in the box on the end of the.
Well, not all the time though. He had plenty of games where he had,
But that's like the difference is like sometimes
all right.
he got those tap-ins in the box that he used to get. And
this is too much pro Kane talk for me. This is hard to listen to.
I'll stop. Let's go.
Dude, are you Kane Ultra? Game week 1 Kane Ultra here?
Maybe I'll House of Kane with Jesse and just go for it.
And I'll have Dyer. Well, we could still be friends.
My God, yeah. What a weird team we have. So what's our team right now? It's like Trent, Dean.
No, Trent, Dyer.
Dyer.
Joel Ward.
McCarthy and McCarthy and Gon, actually. Kane, Raz.
We need like Charlie Taylor, some 4 or 5 Burnley.
Oh yeah. Kane.
No.
Oh yeah.
Kane.
Well, maybe.
Raz.
Keep going.
All right.
Next point that Walsh emailed me. Bob, buy low for game week 1. Check XG. He's so under. Don't forget to check him. 8-5. Yeah.
You don't want to forget to check him because sometimes I say something and if I don't remind myself, don't forget. I do that a lot. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's just a thing I do.
Hey, don't forget to check him.
Hey, it works for me. Because when I write something for future Walsh to do, I don't often do it. But if I put don't forget, then I definitely do it because it's like don't forget. I'm like, I'm reminding myself not to forget because it's important. So fine.
No, it's good. I think Bob, we talked.
Do you think I know, but do you think he's gonna be 8-5? I just think, are they gonna just give him the Liverpool tax again? Because
it's been a while. Yeah, he was 8-5 in 16-17, and he's been. And then he was 8-5 again in 17-18, and then it was 9-5, 9-5.
It's just strange because
I don't know how in tune they are with like him underperforming his numbers, or they might just be like, oh, he's bad now. So I don't know.
Because I mean, if he hit his XG, he would have had his most points ever this year.
Yeah. No, he was.
I mean, A5 is, if he's A5, he's someone that you never need to transfer out. Set and forget.
Set and forget. Yeah. It's simple set and forget. No, I mean, he was so good this year. He scored so many like game winners, and his actual like match performances were great. And then like
you have
somehow,
one goal in Anfield.
Yeah, and then somehow at the end of the season, it's like, oh, he has no goals at all.
In Anfield.
He just didn't score at all ever.
He scored all his goals in like UCL group.
But Bob, we walked the league, and it's just like, yeah, I don't know.
But seriously though, Bob, I mean, if he even maybe at 9, it's just going to be tough to fit him because we're talking about a lot of these kind of players that we like in this bracket. But you could definitely do like a Trent, Bob, and Dodge mid, and you'd be like, feel like, all right, I'm cool. Like I'm cool on Liverpool with them.
Second ever highest shots per 90 and his highest ever XG per 90 in his lowest scoring season. Like,
yeah,
it's just a freak year. Just an absolute weird. Freak year.
And I mean, do you buy like Minamino's in a start get? Like, I know he's like the first guy he rotates in the front three, and he definitely like preserves him because probably more like he knows how fucked they are when he's out.
Yeah, more like defensive work also than like Mo.
He plays as many minutes as he can handle.
Also, Minamino was really cheap. He's sort of like an experiment, I feel like, more than he could just definitely the backup or whatever,
Yeah, he could go the way of like Shea Ojo or something next year. Who knows?
Shaq or who knows?
Yeah. Next note: don't forget about Doc. 6'5", OOP, probably good value. Probably better than any mid at the same price. Not as sexy, but good.
Right, check. Moving on.
So
next note,
but similar to Trent, right? Because he's going to be the kind of guy that we probably like first day the game comes out. It's like Trent, Doc, 4-5, 4-5, 4-5 or something, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be someone that we're 2-3 weeks later looking at like, do I need Doc? Like I can get Cody.
Right.
Like it's the same, right?
We're going to talk ourselves into Vinagre because Johnny's out for like 6 months.
Doc is he's so good.
He's so good. Yeah.
Like if you don't want to spend transfers,
he 4 goals every single season, and then he gets assists there. Yeah.
But like if you don't want to spend transfers on defense, right? Trent, Doc, 4-5, 4-5, 4-5, or like Trent, Doc, 5, 4-5, 4-5 price, right?
Some shit like that. Yeah, it's
good.
Yeah, it's good. If we're talking about not spending transfers on defenders and only spending transfers on like premiums and like not having punty,
not even just premium, but just attackers.
Yeah, attackers. But also we're talking about not having like really shitty punty guys that cost $6 million in our game week 1 team. Then like that is where I'd probably sacrifice for like, fucking
Doc
Saiz at 5 million or something.
5 million.
Like that might be the difference between like Rich and Bowen, and I'm like, I want Rich. I don't know though. I don't know if it's
all right. I know that's going to happen.
Yes,
we're going to at least talk about it.
It's definitely going to happen. But
all
Doc
right, so
is great, no question.
He's so good. Doc's so good.
Yeah, he's so good.
Dean, I talked about Dean. Oh yeah, we talk about team over individual player performances last pod?
We talked about
we did that. Yeah. Okay, so this other one, also going back to basics. So back to basics for players who are newer to the game is spending absolute dog on defense, like
as little as possible.
Actual little, like
anyone who's 4-0 and starting, it nailed
immediately. And like you wanted 4-5, maybe one player was not 4-5, but you had 4-5 defenders, maybe one guy who was more, and you just rotate or whatever, and that's it. Like that's all you did.
I mean, sometimes we would even go like 4-4-5s and then non-playing 4-0.
Yeah, and we rotated
red
3
flag,
4.
non-playing 4-0. Our Woodman in defense, just to be third bench spot. Yeah.
So
I don't think that's
Trent
wrong.
And Trent in 4-4-5. Like maybe going back to that.
Like what if it was Trent 3-0 starting 4-5s and a Woodman? A 4-0 non-playing guy.
So like, let's look at this for a sec. So say you have Trent, right? So what are we looking at? So you have like Ming, maybe you get like Mings, Lamptey. Maybe there's one Palace guy. Maybe not. Maybe a Burnley guy. Like maybe you can get 1-4-5 from those two teams, and then someone on like West Ham.
Yeah.
And then you just go 2 for 4, 3-5-2. That's it.
I mean, like maybe Dyer's 5, and so
You can get a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, because this was another thing that we talked about, I think like 3 years ago, where there was like a little bit of an appreciable difference between the 4 or 5 guys and the 5. Like there were like the bad center back on the better team was 5 versus like the 4 or 5 guy, right? So we were like, do we spend an extra like 0.5 on these 3 spots and rotate 5 million instead of 4 or 5s? I don't know if that ended up being worth it or where we landed on that,
I don't remember.
But does that ring a bell to you?
Yeah, no, it definitely rings a bell. I think that going back to one of your earlier points, though, is that like you can't say this about every team, but Burnley and Palace, we know are rotatable, bankable, cleanable in the good fixtures, and that's like something we haven't looked at rotating 4-5s or that region since
for a long time,
since the olden days of 3-4-3.
4 years, probably. Yeah, so 4 years ago.
That opens up a little bit more if we are, starting with that little bit of rotation at the back, a little more old school.
What if Palace and Burnley rotate with each other and we just go like triple?
We just have the goalkeeper. That's the only way I'll spend more than 8-5 in keeper. It's like Guaita Pope, just like dream rotation.
Yeah, and then it's you bench points every week.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So Villa defense, you mentioned earlier, right? Like they are going to all come in at 4-5 because it's Villa.
Yeah.
They were actually playing at an elite level at the end of the season. They changed their style. Is this a team to target, or is this Dino going to go back to like doing some dumb shit because he's a fucking idiot?
I don't know. I need to read like a Grace on Sports article about it to wrap my head around it, because otherwise I can't wrap my head around it. I mean, they also had like really difficult fixtures. Like it wasn't, they didn't have some easier on it, but Sheffield, Chelsea, Newcastle, Wolves, Liverpool, Manchester United, Palace, Everton, Arsenal, West Ham. Like
they had no choice.
Yeah.
They had no choice but to play that way. So when the fixtures are on the other shoe, that he might just do whatever the fuck and they just suck.
But the thing is, like, to me, the perverse thing that Dean Smith persisted all season was basically playing one DM and then McGinn and Grealish ahead of him as like free eights, but like they played one DM and they're Villa and they have really bad fullbacks and shit.
Doug Luiz ended up being the 2 men at one and one the last end of the year. He was so good.
What I don't understand is that like he didn't really change that. Like it was still just
but they dropped deep. Like they dropped a lot deeper.
Did they? Yeah. So
they did. They did definitely drop a lot. Like 2 deep banks. Like they were very much deeper than.
So if
earlier.
They're doing that, then I definitely want to piece. Yeah. I mean, they were horrible all season. Like
all year.
Bottom
horrible.
3 defensive team.
Oh yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Horrible.
But they were
Norwich.
fucking great. After the restart. So maybe Dean stumbled into something.
The problem is going to be like you're going to know after 3 game weeks if you did the good thing or the bad thing.
Yeah, but that's okay. We just bench him, right? Because they're 4-5. Oh, we're not going to transfer him.
Why?
Because he's a defender. And we're not fucking stupid and use transfers on defenders. We're just going to live with Konsa on our bench all season. It's going to be fucking great. Can't wait.
Tierney. So Tierney kind of turned it on. Might be a player. Could be good depending on price. 5-5. Could he be 5? Do you think they could put him in at 5?
It's possible. Is that possible? I mean, he played a lot of center back at the end of the season, like
left-sided center back. Yeah.
So maybe that like hurts his price because he's not like a flying wing back or whatever he was supposed to be, you know. But I do like him. Same thing with Arsenal's before. I just think there's so many question marks. I don't know where he's going to play. I do think that affects his output a lot. I don't know. He's really good, though.
Who's going to play left back? Like, if they play a back four.
So we
he's
know
the left back.
we know Bellerin / Cedric are right back or right wing back. That's nailed.
Yeah.
No matter the system. If they
Yeah.
play in a back four or back five, that's the right side. If they play in a back four, I don't think Arteta would trust any of the other guys other than Tierney to play like left back and just own that side. I don't think he would trust Kola, Saka, or Maitland-Niles.
All right.
But if
so
they're
there's too
wing
much.
backs, then I think he trusts all of those guys.
Yeah. Okay. There's too much here. It's like so basically everything about Arsenal except for Obbs, who gets 200 points every year, is just like get the fuck out of here. We need to know more.
Is Pepe like a buy low?
No, he sucks, dude. I really think he's bad. I don't think he's ever gonna. I think he's bad. I don't think he can play in this league.
I wonder how much he's gonna be.
Should be like 7.5, maybe 7.
Are they really gonna go 9.5 to 7?
He's awful. What are you talking about?
He obviously had a bad year, but I feel like he's a buy low potential.
I mean, how many goals did he score last year in France? Non-pen goals, like 8?
No, like I think he had like
10,
12 or something.
12. So that's about
11 assists.
So I think like 1 goal in England is worth 2 in France. So this is like what you get, right? Like it's the same thing. I don't know. Whatever. I fucking Pepe.
I mean, he only played 2,000 minutes.
Yeah, for a reason. He couldn't get in the team. He was fit all year.
Yeah.
Didn't get hurt. Wasn't hurt. Yeah, he's just bad. I think that was just a nightmare.
Might be. He's really young though. I have an eye on him.
Yeah, I'm not interested in Pepegs. So
definitely not gonna like start the season with him. I should make that clear. I'm just like, yeah, he might be better.
Yeah.
What are the last 2 notes, right?
Yeah, we're down to only a couple.
Peter Boning 2 notes.
So remember to think about teams that you think will do better this season than last. Southampton, Chelsea. Look at the team as much as the individual players in question. So this is like like the price drop, but like the players that price rise. Like when the teams have like ings of the players that are going to price rise, and you like the team, are there other options on those teams who don't price rise by that much that could be better, like FPL assets? Because you want the team, right? You like the team, the way the team's looking. How can you kind of exploit that?
So the equivalent of this, it didn't work out fully, but it worked out 50%, is us starting with Soy and Perez this season.
Yeah.
We saw how Leicester ended the season prior with Braj. They were attacking and really good. And we were like, okay, this is a top 6 team. And we started with not Vardy, but a cheap guy that we thought was nailed. Yeah. And we thought he would be playing a different position. We got fucked there.
Yeah.
A defender who was very underpriced, clearly. So I think we kind of nailed that this season.
Yeah. So who is that next?
Specifically. Yeah, I think it might be Southampton. We were just popping off about Southampton.
I still am having a hard time finding which players though on Southampton outside of Ings.
Stu and McCarthy. We've talked about a lot this pod.
Yeah.
Other teams are like, I mean, this sounds like I'm taking the piss or whatever, but like Spurs and Arsenal are kind of that too to me.
Because they finished well and they could be underpriced.
Yeah, I mean they're
both in Europe.
Nightmare seasons.
I hate the Thursday Europe.
Yeah, it does suck.
That's a problem.
But one really good thing about Moo is that he doesn't rotate.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one amazing thing about Moo in FPL is he never rotates.
So what? But I also put Chelsea in there. Like I feel like Chelsea's the team. Maybe they're not going to be underpriced though because they all have like big flashy names.
Not gonna be underpriced, yeah.
The one player we didn't talk about earlier was Mount. I feel like Mount's a big like in that category of like kind of the post hype guy where
yeah.
I mean he loves him and he's on some set pieces and stuff and I think he's really good. I mean, we're making fun of him for a while last year in the middle to late part of the season because he just would never get fucking points. But
he
I
was,
feel like
the
he's going to
worst
run
pick
into
ever for like middle 20 game weeks.
Yeah,
basically.
but
yeah, no,
I like he got a lot out of the season.
If he plays another 3,000 minutes with a better attack with like Werner and Ziyech and shit, then I mean, I like that. I like him he's the one guy who might be underpriced, right? Because I don't think
exactly
he's going to be underpriced or Werner's going to be.
No,
yeah, that's interesting. I wish.
And
are there room? I haven't been following anything. Are they gonna like change keepers or like buy a center back or like are they just gonna be
center back? It looks like
10 defensive team again.
Yeah, no, center back I've seen nothing, and they've been pretty quiet on keeper. I think I saw some madness about Oblak, which was I don't know what the fuck, but that probably won't happen. But I don't know what they're doing, honestly. No, I don't know.
Yeah, who are there other teams? Oh, I mean West Ham I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, we talked about West Ham.
West Ham, I think the large majority of people would be like Antonio or bust, and I think they're kind of good.
West Ham could be good. Yeah. Well, it's they turn it, but then I think it's also the other thing is like Everton were really bad, but I don't think that's their true value.
Yeah, Everton also.
So they could be underpriced also. Like I'm interested to see the Everton player prices a lot.
Yeah, I think those are good teams. I don't think I feel that way about anyone else. Just looking at the list of teams.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. We also haven't talked about Man United at all. I mean, I don't know if that matters.
Greenwood a little bit, but
yeah, but like Bruno, what's your take on Bruno before? I mean, we're almost done here.
I mean, he's great. He'll
probably be like 11-5.
Yeah, I mean, are they going to break the record again for penalties? I'm not sure. Probably not, but
we'll tie it.
If they tie it, then he should be in everyone's team all season. But I don't know. I think he's really good, but he'll maybe get too much of a price hike because of the pens. It's like my gut feeling, but I'm also just like biased because it's not fun when people have 95% of active teams have one player and captain him every week.
I'm just worried about Bruno being in like 25% of the teams game week 1 and neither of us have him, and it's game week 4 and we're like
50% of teams.
Even worse. And it's like game week 4 and we're 1.8 million and he has 32 points. Like that's what I'm scared of that.
I'm not scared of that because we just get him and it's fine. Like I'd rather take a risk.
Is that fine?
Yeah, I mean it is. It honestly is. It's the thing that bums me out the most about that is that we will just have him for the next 34 game weeks in that scenario, and everyone will captain him every week, and it'll be like a Mo season where it was just really boring. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
or we're right, and we're 800K.
Yeah, there you go. Living large. No, I mean he's really good. We've talked about avenues nonstop since the restart. He's got all of them.
All right, so two final notes. I mean, one note I'm amending on the fly because it was a Ben Rahama note, but Matheus Pereira on West Brom, dude, he is pretty dirty.
I've never seen him kick a ball, not even one time.
You didn't watch the link I put up?
No.
Oh my god!
And I'm obsessed with him already. I'm never watching him.
I woke up like a week and a half ago at like 3:30 in the morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep, so I just got up, like did my thing, and I think I watched like 3 10-minute Pereira highlight. Like I just sat for 30 minutes watching Pereira highlight YouTube videos. Amazing. And it was so good. He's so good.
Yeah, he came from Portugal.
He was Sporting. He was on Sporting, I think.
Yeah, but he didn't really play for them much.
Yeah, he played for fucking filthy, dude.
Yeah, I mean he played for Chavez. I don't know who they are, but they're still Portuguese top division. When he was 21 and put up 7 goals, 5 assists, and his numbers in the championship were
filthy,
crazy.
Dude. He's so good.
I mean, he's ripe for soup. I mean, he is soup already.
He's really good.
I know. But
you have to watch the video.
He's our sixth midfielder. Baited into the video. It's like it's such bait. Oh my god! If I watch the video, he's nailed, and that's not what I want. You know.
Yeah. He's so good. Okay, that's it with that. Last point.
How much is he gonna be? 6'5"?
6'5", I think. They've been pricing those like the best attacker on the promoted time to 6'5". He should be 6, realistically. But I mean, the player got 20 assists. Like he was 1 and 2 in the championship, right? So you know, you can kind of go like 1 and 3.
I'm looking at what did Grealish put up in the promotion season?
The numbers:
6 goals, 6 assists. Jesus. Pereira just puts up 8 and 17.
Yeah.
What did Matto put up?
Dude, Pereira's.
I guess they're not really comparable though, because he's like a winger, right? And these are 10s.
Well, Pereira, he was playing.
Matto put up 14 and 8 on Norwich. They finished 14th the year he was there. Jesus.
Pereira's good though. No, Pereira was playing like, I was reading some shit about him that he was playing like 10, and then they switched to 4-3-3, and he was playing kind of like a free roll on the right. Like he was sometimes popping up on the left, I think. And Bilic was like doing some different things. I'm interested in West Brom, honestly. I'm like kind of interested because I feel like
thought at all about like anything. So I'm
yeah,
not there.
Bilic, I trust Bilic. I think he knows what he's doing. And he's been there before. Like I feel like he knows the ebbs and the flows of the season. He was really good for a while until he was bad.
He was like, really good when Payet was just the best thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like Bilic, and I think their team's okay.
Here's a warning sign if I've ever seen a warning sign for Pereira.
I don't want to hear it.
Emi Buendia. The year they dominated the championship and came up 8 goals, 12 assists.
Yeah.
Comes up. What did he get? 1 goal, like 3 assists or something. Even Onel Hernandez had 8 goals, 9 assists. And then Buendia 1 goal, 7 assists.
Pereira's good, dude.
I believe it.
He's good.
Buendia, I think Buendia's good too, by the way. I think Buendia's good too. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Okay. Last point.
Oh, there's another
before we get out of here. Be wary of players who get big price hikes.
Oh yeah, that's a big.
We say it every year. I mean, that's a big thing, dude. It's a really big deal because players who get price hikes don't usually get another price hike, so you're not buying low.
Right, unless you're Jim. He's like the one guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be like
Wolves are like $1 trillion industry, so it's like a very weird situation. But yeah, I think it's right to be wary.
Jim's gonna be 18 million in the 2022 season.
Yeah.
What is Jim gonna be this year? I haven't thought about him at all.
Probably same, right? 9.5 or something. Is that what he is?
What do you mean same? He started at like 8, didn't he?
Oh, he started at 7.5.
7.5. He was 5.5 to 7.5.
He'll probably be 9.
9.
I mean,
is he going to be like this?
7. Jesus.
What are they going to do with him and Ings? Do you think they'll just price him the same? They'll both be like 9.
Yeah,
that would be kind of fine.
Somewhere on there. They're both fucking good.
9.5 seems like so much.
The thing that's hard with the value discussion and the price hike discussion is that part of what you're paying for, less with Ings than Jim, but part of what you're paying for is just like, we're talking about set and forget and glue guys. Like Jim is the epitome of that. He's like fixture proof, doesn't matter. He plays 90 every fucking game. He's a horse and he's really good and consistent. So I don't know, paying for that versus like going with a riskier 7.5 guy plus transfers in that spot probably. It's hard to weigh it up.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is hard to weigh it up. I think that's about it.
Nice, dude. Good hosting job by you.
Yeah.
No, it was. You did. I was worried about this episode. I didn't know what you wanted from me. I read the notes.
What do you mean, what did I want from you?
No, because I read the notes the way they're written, and half of them I was like, sure. That was my reaction. You're like, be wary, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah.
You have no imagination. You have to read the note and then expand your mind.
Well, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I can't. It's hard for me to imagine, like, potting. Because I'm a different person while we're potting. I'm much more energetic and lively and stuff. When I read it on my computer, I'm just like, okay. Yeah. Seems good. Good job by you. I have asses to slap. 4 signups since we last potted. Got Abdullah Al-Alain, Vishal Dashi, Anders Langholm, and Pranil, who I think is late riser. Good job by everyone. Thanks. Slap that ass. Get in there. Thanks for signing up. Season's gonna be back soon, dude. Prices are coming.
Yeah, I mean,
soon.
what are we doing here? I mean, it's actually this week could come out.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it probably will come out this week.
Wednesday is a month until first match of the season.
Yeah, I think it could come out this week.
Yeah. So here we go, dude. You ready?
So, but as of right now, no, I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. I have no idea. No. So as of right now, though, we're just gonna wait until prices come out and then probably do one like immediately, right?
I think
like
so.
that day.
Yeah, I think so. I told Cole, gift master, who made the gift for this one, which is genius. I told him, I said, by the way, next pod is gonna be when prices come out, like just panic, like insane, ramble.
I want stocks, like I want Leo from Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
just like give me.
I ain't leaving.
Charts up
this
and down.
This shit doesn't
end. That's what we need for that one.
Sounds good. Any last words?
Looks like a job by you, buddy.
Check us out at FMLFL.com. Follow us on Twitter on FML Sports Patreon.com/FML Players. Subscribe, rate, review, check.